what you want?
My mother knows best. I trust her.
Whose blood is it, Jordan? Tell me if you hurt somebody.
I protect my child by any means necessary.
What if I woke up the bad guy?
Okay, Diane, I am excited to be talking Waking Nightmare with you. And of course, as you already know, I'm one of your biggest fans. I even got your Better Off Dead book. So that's enough said about that.
Merci, merci. You have to bring it to me at a convention. I'll sign it for you, okay?
Awesome.
Aw.
So my first question is, how did you get involved with this film?
It's so interesting because I have been so blessed with people who watch my work and then they like what I do or they're interested in working with me. And then what happens is they will say to me, okay, I'd like you to play this role. And so what happened here is that someone asked me to play this role, but you know, my characters are so different that it always amazes me what people see in me. And I love good character works and I love juicy roles. So to me, that ability to play a character that has a lot of range and that I'm experimenting with, for someone to take the trust in me to go and move forward in a part and they give it to me and it's like, okay, I can take it where I want. Like that's really what fills me, you know? And so in this case, the director contacted me and asked me if I wanted to play this part of Danielle. And I have to say, I love the range. It kind of slightly reminded me of a movie of the week I did in the 80s called Summer Girl. Mm-hmm. But at the same, I don't know if you've ever seen that or if anyone has. It's really a cool part.
And I was really young at that time. I might have thought it at one point.
Really? Yeah, it's really like, yeah, exactly. But Summer Girl was interesting because actually it was the only film that I was up for an Emmy. Like I was up for a nomination for an Emmy. So what I'm saying is, you know, it's interesting, you know, you can be given roles as an actor, but it really has to be written into the script for the audience to see your range. And wow, this part, okay, so I wanted to make a disclaimer for everyone. If you want to see me as Karen from The Last American Virgin or the princess from Bill and Ted's or Monique from Better Off Dead, do not watch this film.
No,
okay?
no.
Do you get this? Did you see it?
I totally got it. I totally got it. I loved the movie, and you were phenomenal in the movie because
thank you.
The way you played a Karen in some way, but not the Karen that everyone expects. You know, you were overprotective mother, and you know the way you did it, you were just always concerned about her. You know that she's got this problem, and you go to great lengths to make sure that this problem somehow gets solved one way or another. And
I relate to this character because I have kids of my own. And I will tell you this is just between you and all the audience that's watching. Okay. just between me and you and everybody who's watching. During the filming, we had a wonderful time. It was really, really cool. But the last day, my daughter was supposed to do a scene, my actual daughter, and there was a problem. And I actually experienced waking nightmare in waking nightmare. So it was really bad. So all I can say is I'm not getting into it, but what I want to tell you is that it's fascinating. Like I, as a mother, am so protective of my kids, just like they mean the world to me. It's not like, it's just everything. And in fact, to that point, I almost didn't do any interviews because of this, but I spoke to her about it. And I felt like, this part is really just different. No one's ever seen me in this role. And I'm hoping that people will remember that I'm a nice person, but don't cross me. Don't do it. Don't do it with my kids.
No.
It's not okay.
Yeah, exactly. I know the same feeling. I'm a dad of 4, so I know about it.
Oh yeah, forget it. It's like the mild-mannered person suddenly becomes like, super dad, like super, it's...
Or in your case, super mom, so yeah.
Super mom.
Totally get it.
I really appreciate you saying this about this role. I'm very interested in what people think about it. I've been told that it's kind of worse than the Carrie mom. And I'd like to know your thought on that.
Actually, you know what? I'd say it's on the same level as the Carrie mom,
Thank you.
especially
Thank
with the
you.
third act, which I won't reveal it because I think
Yep.
everyone needs to see it. But I think my jaw dropped when I saw what happens in the third act. And
Yes.
so I think you're on that level of the Carrie mom. You could be the next Carrie mom, basically, with this.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, that is acting, you know. I will say that also what's interesting is I got to work with these really cool actors. This film to me is very, very indie. If you're going in and expecting this kind of polished film, you're going to be thrown, because even the credits, I was so like, oh my gosh, this is so artistic, so cool. And I really like there's a lot of, you're experiencing the movie from the perspective of my daughter, who's played by Sherry Regner, who
Yeah.
I didn't know, but then I of course saw her in the Pitch Perfect movies, and she is so much like me. I love her because we are both this like really upbeat, positive kind of person, but we also have this side of us that's kind of can go into the dark side. And so it was so great to work with her because I could throw anything at her and she was able to catch it. So we were really able to do some great acting together. I really loved working with her.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And Jamison Newlander, which was so much fun because anytime I work with an actor from the 80s who I never met, like I didn't meet during the 80s at all. We never got a chance to work with each other. So there's this mutual respect. And then there's also this, okay, yeah, we are totally in sync with each other. So that was extremely fun. He's the best, and he's coming in. He's starting to act again. So those of you who are thinking of hiring, contact him. I'm really happy that he's working together.
Oh, he was
That
great.
he's working again.
Yeah, the chemistry between you and Jameson was great. I mean, I like that.
Was
You
it?
were the overprotective mom, where he's more carefree dad. He does have some concern, but at the same time, he's like, I need to get away from her now.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Well, you've seen relationships like this where the woman is domineering and the guy is like, whatever, like he sits back, and what a nice balance for the film. It keeps it real, and it gives us a breath in the film. Like we get to, okay, this is no, I mean, look, let's face it, in life, comedy overlaps with drama all the time in real life. 1 minute you're screaming, and then the next minute it's like someone's like, doing something goofy, and you're like, oh my gosh. Like, so it's a part of the nature of the reality. I don't know. I just loved it. I thought it was really cool. And then David Naughton. Okay, so honestly, he was like a crush when I was a teen. So when I got to work with him, I'm like, are you kidding me? This is surreal that all this time is going by. And here I am working with him. So exciting. And he was a great actor. He takes his work really seriously. And it was just cool to see his range. You know what I mean? Just like, I mean, it's so funny. I guess audiences view actors as, again, what they've shown up until now.
Yeah.
But it was nice to work with him and see him play a totally different character, totally different world. And that was actually the first scene we shot in the film when I worked with him. So we were getting to know each other, and amazing. I really had a great time working with him.
I gotta tell you, his character actually does remind me a little bit of one of his characters, and it's not American Werewolf in London. The way he comes off, it reminded me of Midnight Madness. He was like if Adam grew up to be a doctor, it would be that character.
Oh, that's a great comparison. Absolutely. Yes, I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, because he just comes off as so kind-hearted, and he's like, what's going on with you? You doing okay? Like, he's the same way with Midnight Madness, with Flinch, and then he's of course, and then he has the other dark side with his brother, in that movie where he's like, he couldn't stand his brother, but then eventually he realizes his mistake, so he's back to being he was like the big brother, basically.
Yes. And that's, you brought up a good point, is that sometimes actors are given some room to develop their characters, like that character, he was given the room to say, oh, the other side of him. That's what I think is interesting about this film with my character, is be able to see all sides of who I am, which you don't normally see in the mother. Usually it's like, okay, it's the token mom and the story's about the daughter. Obviously this is about the daughter, but it definitely makes you realize, wait, there's other people involved in this situation.
Exactly. And
sometimes mothers and fathers make a decision, but it wasn't maybe the right decision. right?
Exactly.
Like you trust your parent, and some parents think they're doing the right thing, but they may not. So that's another piece of thoughtful information for people. So
Yes, and I would also remind me a little bit of your character in the Amityville Murders, because you came off as the very concerning mother in that movie as well, and that's the first time I talked to you about that, was about that movie. So it's kind of like that's really, but here you kind of take that role and amped it up, which was really awesome.
yeah, in funny Amityville Murders, people would say to me like, "Oh, I felt for you," but then when they saw the dynamic behind the closed door with my husband, they went, "Oh, I get it." So it is so much in the writing. The writing is so important in anything we do, that characters are shown. Actor gets a script, and we embellish what is given in the writing, but the writer has to start off by bringing that out.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome. That's amazing. And even the few death scenes in the movie were kind of like, quite frankly, I didn't feel any sympathy for the people who get killed in this movie, because they deserved it.
yes,
That's the
yes. I
cool
mean,
thing I like
even
about it.
okay, Jan's Birch's performance. Oh my gosh, Jan and I. That's like a scene I can't even begin to tell you. I'm not going to get into it,
Oh
but
no,
all I can tell you is Jan and I we went for it, and wow. I mean, after the film comes out, I'll expound on that. But he was
he's one of
great.
those, he's one of those actors. He could do any movie, because I've seen him in a whole bunch of movies, and he'll either play that, like what we saw in this movie, really cringy worthy, or he's gonna play like the real, he has he has an amazing range as well. I've seen him in a whole bunch of indie flicks, and I totally forgot he was in Slumber Party Massacre 3. That was like one of his first movies, and he was like the mysterious guy on the beach. I didn't even know that.
He's
Real,
just so fun. And he's so nice, but he's so fun to work with. He is very fun. I would hope to work with him again, really. I mean, all the actors were it's just so fun when you're given, this is one of the reasons why I really like indie films, because you're given the chance to play, and you're given the chance to, not everyone has to approve every single thing that goes on, there's a lot of people have to say yes in regular commercial films, and, a lot of people are involved, and their careers are at stake, and it's a lot of somewhat different pressure. In indie films, you get, let's just make the work. Like, what would be cool,
yeah, exactly.
So
It feels like with indie films, you get more leeway to bring your character to life.
you
Unlike
do.
polished
Yeah.
studio films where they're looking over they're looking over like, oh no, you need to, like, it's like the producers take over for the directors when it comes to the studio films. Or
And
in indie
writers, to a
films,
certain extent, you have to know what
yeah,
everything has a meaning, because the writing is set. Like, everything tells, I mean, obviously in a film, the idea is every piece of information brings you to the next level of the story. I remember doing Amityville Murders, and there was a scene where some of the actors had to say something about, when you do this, you have to go upstairs. And that was a really piece of important information for the story, and you couldn't just let that go. You had to say, oh, I'm going upstairs. Like, it was important for the audience to visualize that. So I mean, in a real film, you're like a commercial film, you're dealing with the actors, unless the director says go for it, and usually, but it's really more about, where's that, who's the focus of the scene, and what can we do. And it's also money too, but I don't know, I enjoy indies. They're very fun.
oh yeah, I feel like since your days from the 80s up to now, like, you really showed yourself to be probably one of the most phenomenal actresses in both worlds. I mean,
Thank
seriously.
you.
True.
I really, really appreciate that. That's really nice.
Well, it's true, because like, here you were in Last American Virgin, you were, Karen, and we all know how that movie ended, and that still like breaks my heart to this day. You were hysterical and Better Off Dead. I mean, you were just great in that movie. And then, of course, Bill and Ted. I mean, and then here you
Classic
are
princess.
yeah, and here you are, like, you just kept going with it. And you know, this is why this year I actually said, I already know who's going to join my World Film Geek Hall of Fame. I already know who's going to be number one, and I was like, I had to pick you. You were totally You were totally worthy. That's
I'm
why.
gonna get teary-eyed. I mean, seriously, like, I mean, I just do my stuff, and just the acknowledgement is huge. It's is with every. I mean, I have a bunch of other actresses, and we talk about it, and there's no guarantee that people will be remembered. So I really appreciate the fact that you notice and acknowledge and like what I'm doing still to this day.
Oh yeah. And of course, I was right before we recorded, I said I got your book on Better Off Dead, and I had so much. I think I read it like 3 times already. I had so much, and then I recently showed one of my daughters the movie, and she absolutely loved it. She's like, "This
Isn't
is
it
such a funny
great?
movie." She goes, "It's such a funny movie," and she's like, "This is funny." I'm like, "You need to show me more of this stuff." That's what she was telling me, and I was like,
Well,
"That's
I'm really impressed because that usually she went to the next generation then, right? And the book also is that it's these special features that we all wanted to see but never were able to. Yeah, that is. I'm very. We'll tell her merci buckets.
I will. I will definitely tell her. So, is there any new indie films that you're doing that's coming out soon? Before all this craziness happened, is there anything that's
I have I have a lot of stuff going on. All right, and I think the interesting part of it is if I had a publicist or something, they'd be way ahead. I always wind up telling people like 2 days before, oh, like I'm going to be in this movie. Oh, that's why if people follow me on social media, they're more likely to find out what's happening. So this movie's coming out Friday. I'm actually, I have a short that I'm doing that I did called Paradolia. And that is actually coming out in the UK. And I love that film. Also, it's a short, but it deals with, if you don't know what pareidolia is, looking at an image and seeing something in it that's not there. And I just really like this film, and I got to work with British actors, which was so much fun because I want to talk like this and they want to talk like this, and so we're like the voices are coming together. I'm like, okay, no, stay in my own dialect. And so that's very fun, but that's going to be coming out in October. I have another movie coming out in October called Dark Room. Pareidolia is coming out in the UK at a film festival. It's coming out at the end of August in Fright Fest, right? Yeah. But it was, so if you're in the UK, check it out. So I think it's going to just do the film fest circuit, but I'm going to be going there in October to show the premiere, be the premiere of Pareidolia. There's another film I did called Dark Room that will be coming out in October. And that one I liked because I play a psychiatrist, which I love, which was really a cool thing. As an adult, it's really cool to play all the different parts. Interesting film. I really like this film. It's called The Dark Room, and I really like the subject matter. I think it's really interesting. So that's coming out, and I am also doing another project, a series, but that is in a couple of weeks, and I'll be working on that. I'm not allowed to say anything about it right now, but a totally different role as well. And then I have maybe doing a kind of a hosting thing, and I'm not telling you anything about it yet, but I am kind of. So I'm kind of working on that this week. So hosting a show. So we'll see what happens. And then I teach acting to kids, and I'm busy. I'm really busy, but I'm happy. I'm trying to put out good things. I'm trying to put out a variety of things. And my goal with my audience is always to surprise them, bring them something fun, unexpected, and cool. That's it.
Which you totally did with Waking Nightmare, and which will be out on Friday. And everyone definitely needs to check this film out. I really enjoyed it.
So excited. You guys.
And Diane, thank you so much. I had such a blast talking with you again. And we're definitely going to do this again.
Albert, I'll be back. We'll talk again on future things. But I really appreciate you having me on the show. Thank you. Merci buckets. And make sure you keep your eyes open for Waking Nightmare.
All right. Well, I hope everyone checks it out. And until then, you all have a great day.